So you guys talk about this sort of notion that there's all these brand dollars waiting to come into our environment if we can just get this sort of data problem solved and do audience-based targeting in a more scaled environment. And so when I look at our brands, the reason advertisers invest with us, for the most part, is the ability to go cross-platform. It's around ownership. It's around exclusivity. It's around being able to do customization, content integrations. It's to be able to activate on pack for CPGs. These types of things. It's generally a lot more than just sort of the X's and O's of sort of media buying, and it's important. It's very difficult for us to have a conversation about all these incremental things without talking about the opportunity cost. Mm-hmm. So if I'm starting enabling all of this sort of real-time bidding and demand-side platforms and customers remarketing from their websites into my environment, my best partners, your clients, are buying me because they want to have ownership of an audience that I've represented with research. And if I've enabled people with a very low barrier to entry to come in and cherry pick that audience, I've now done a huge disservice to my best partner and enabled the Wild West for people that aren't supporting my core business. And by the way, I actually am not so sure if we enable that. It's not the end of brand advertising, as opposed to the beginning.
So is data a commodity? I mean, are we losing that
exactly
much
right.
control where it's just out there and nobody can put boundaries on this?
Well, and the problem, to your point, I don't think a lot of brand advertisers fully understand the implications of this yet. And so I think they're buying a lot of big platforms from a lot of companies in this room, thinking that they're buying one audience based on all the research and everything that was shown. And the reality is that these same companies are currently enabling exchanges and DSPs and the DSPs that the agencies are building to come in and use our very same data and their very same data to enable their competitors to come in and undermine the core thing that's the centerpiece of their entire campaign.
So Ramsey, are we pissing money away?
No, I don't think we're pissing money away. I love hearing Walker's perspective. I don't know that I necessarily agree. I mean, if you look at the way we sell digital, we essentially sell it like a TV experience. We sell the sponsorship. You get the Coke glass in American Idol. You can have the Sprint sponsorship of NASCAR. We sell DRTV, and online there's an oversupply, so performance is heavier, a heavier component. There's DRTV, the pasta pot in television. TV sells the sponsorship, which is the Super Bowl ad, so it's a reach buy. Yahoo sells front page. And where we fall down in audience-based targeting is that television sells composites. They sell women for P&G across scripts, 7 or 8 programs. And they assume that there's some waste embedded in that because the reach or the composite is 70% female. We don't have to do that online. We can use granular data that we have, that an agency, that an advertiser has, that a third party has, to more effectively target and then measure the impact of that targeting.
But we're not doing it.
Well, no, I don't think
we're not doing it.
I think publishers can use data to inform the art and the science. We use data as a great example. The last Olympics, we're doing the same thing now. The last Olympics, we looked at search query volume and then changed the stories that we presented to our users on the homepage, and our engagement and time spent shot through the roof. Unbelievable.
So the case obviously is that data can provide tremendous value, right? I don't think any of us up here or in the room have any disagreement around that. I think that you look at what's happening with data right now and the proliferation of sellers. You look at RTB systems and DSPs and data exchanges, and what we've done is quickly commoditize data and made it have the controls that you don't want. So these are essentially the same arguments that have always been had by premium publishers around allowing networks to access their inventory. We're repeating the same problems with data, right? Yes. But when you go back to the revenue opportunity, the brand advertisers, we all seem to be solving for the way the economy is today, and I think we're going to see a tremendous amount of dollars that can come online from brand advertisers. And when they do that, they're going to want to buy very similar to how they've always bought offline, which is context as a proxy for audience. So there's going to be significant competition for what is limited premium contextual space. They're going to need more efficient ways not to eliminate that buy, but to extend that buy and reach that audiences without having to be in that space once your pricing has capped to a place where it no longer makes sense to continue rising prices. And that's where the revenue piece comes in for publishers, for advertisers, and for the entire ecosystem.
John, you buy it?
Yeah, a little. I think that I just wanted to pick up on something that Walker said. I think that there are premium publishers, and I think that there's a huge value that publishers like Turner can offer. But currently in our agency, we're buying about 80% of what we buy at premium. I don't think that the future of getting brand advertising into this market is at $20 and $70. I don't think that brand advertisers are going to buy that. There needs to be a middle ground. There needs to be an efficiency. We know that there's a lot of inventory available, and we don't want to buy it at 20 cents either, but we don't want to buy it at $10 or $20. And our clients just simply aren't buying it. And so I think that there's a huge opportunity for additional revenue, but not the way it is now. It really has to change. And data and the use of data and being able to, for us to understand, I mean, what some of the publishers are asking us to do is not to tag our advertising, which will mean that we can't see the frequency and we can't see the behavior of an individual across the entire campaign. It's kind of backward in a way for us to be thinking that way, and our clients aren't buying it. They're saying, why can't you tell me what the frequency is? Why can't you do attribution modeling across the entire campaign? We simply have to be able to do that to answer so many of the questions that our brands are asking of us. And what I would do is I would say, let's explore further how to use data, and I get back to the trust thing is, of course, build protections in there, and we've had many discussions with publishers over the last year about saying, we simply will not use the data irresponsibly, and show us where to sign, and we'll sign there. And but it just, what I do agree with Jeff is that I think that there's a future, and we've got to start planning, and we've got to start behaving. We've got to start thinking about what does this look like in a year's time or in 2 years' time, and I think we're being held back by not being able to use data as creatively as we can at the moment.
I think John's position is consistent with what the other holding companies would tell you, which is they want to be transparent, they want to be forthright, they want the dynamic to change because the clients are demanding that it change. So my concern is less about can we get to a sense of agreement with the lead agencies and buyers who represent a significant amount of the budget. I think we can. They were involved in the IAB forays. They'll continue to be involved as we try to expand the framework. What continues to scare me are the startups who are not public, who have very little accountability, who are selling into people that are buying where the buyers don't necessarily understand what's happening. And I don't know that it's illegal. You know, there's no hard rules. I'm not the arbiter of what's ethical. But there are things that are happening in the industry that affect the revenue model of publishers and may affect us at an industry level when regulators look and say, here are 5 examples of things that people are doing that you can't control, so we're going to control it for you.